Happy New Year from Pasadena, California. It's the CBS presentation of the Tournament of Roses Parade with hosts Kevin Dobson and Lisa Gibbons. Sponsored by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by Oldsmobile. Stop by your Oldsmobile dealer and see what's new from the new generation of Olds. The 1991 Rose Parade is about to begin, but to get us in the mood, here's a little New Year's treat from the CBS Living Scrapbook, a quick review of last year's pageantry.
And that isn't even the beginning. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Kevin Dobson.
All right, he, of course, Matt McKenzie from Knott's Landing. And let me join in the New Year's greeting. Thanks for watching with us. I'm Lisa Gibbons.
The charming co-host of Miss Universe, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, with the background of the lovely San Gabriel Mountains, as you can see behind us in downtown Pasadena, we are high above the official starting line of the Rose Parade on Orange Grove Boulevard.
Where CBS gets everything first. Then the parade turns the corner onto Colorado Boulevard for the rest of the 5.5-mile extravaganza.
So really what Times Square is to New York City, what Piccadilly Circus is to London.
This hub of the Rose Parade is to Pasadena. The theme this year is fun and games. And who could ask for a better Grand Marshal than CBS's talented Bob Newhart?
Yep, Mr. Fun and Games himself. Well, Bob did some research on the origin of the parade over 102 years ago. He came up with his own version of how the famous Dr. C.F. Holger of Pasadena might have first presented the idea.
Explained his idea for the Rose Bowl parade to one of the city fathers in Pasadena. Yeah, Professor. Yeah, what can I do for you, Professor? Yeah, we're trying to let the people back east know how warm and nice it is out here in January. Yeah. You think you come up with a solution? Uh-huh. A parade. Well, you know, the chariot races have been going over pretty well. You think this will outdo the chariot races, huh? What would the parade consist of? Bands? Marching bands? Huh? People on horseback? And, yeah. Professor, are you saying floats? What are floats? They're kind of motorized flatbeds. Only they're covered with what? With flowers. That sounds like a hell of an idea, Professor. I'll tell you. How long would this parade be? About 5.5 miles. Yeah, and you're walking behind the horses, is that right? Yeah, you got a winner there, I think, yeah.
And the parade has come a long way since then. We'll watch for Bob shortly when he shows up in person as the Grand Marshal.
And we will be back in just a moment.
Here we are overlooking the VIP stands in Orange Grove Boulevard, where the parade officially starts, and CBS will be the first with the best.
For those of you who may be watching the Rose Parade for the first time, let us tell you a little bit about what goes on.
Well, prizes are awarded for the best floats in various categories, and the competition is tough.
It certainly is. The panel of judges is made up of important leaders of the cultural world. Now, they carefully inspect the floats twice before the final judging just early this morning.
So as we go along, we'll let you know which are the prize winners, and you can check your own favorites with those picked by, you know, the big guns, the experts.
Exactly, but just remember, the Rose Parade, of course, isn't all floats. I think it's kind of like a circus, isn't it, with lots of different kinds of performers. So let's go back to our living scrapbook right now for some more highlights of a year ago. And Barnum and Bailey thought they had the greatest show on earth. Well, with our parade today, we're going on to new heights and greater showmanship, Kevin.
Well, like that amazing scene last year, nobody will ever forget. Lisa, let me show it to you, run the tape. You're gonna love it. You gotta love it.
Oh, I remember this. I was watching when this guy came out.
Last year, the crowds went wild over this high-tech float. It's a version of the Transformer toy that kids all loved, you know?
Oh, I bet they did go crazy. Of course, you were here live hosting the parade as it happened. It must have been quite a spectacle.
Well, I learned what it was called. It was called People in Tune with Technology.
Well, you get a good idea as these CBS cameramen have these shots of him, just how big he is. He absolutely dwarfs even those trees along the boulevard.
Well, the futuristic vehicle moved along horizontally and then transformed into a 60-foot-high robot. Then, with his head erect and arms stretched wide, it made a 360-degree turn and shouted, "Greetings and Happy New Year to all."
That's pretty good, Kevin. Did you have a nickname for this guy?
Sir.
Right. Must have taken hundreds of thousands of flowers to cover this giant.
Well, it seems like there were hundreds of thousands of cameras the way they covered it. They did a great job on this.
Oh, there he goes for that spin. You know, the animation every year gets better and more sophisticated. It really makes this an amazing parade to watch. Well, it's a pretty big act to follow, but that was last year. And here it is now, folks, the start of the 1991 Rose Parade Fun and Games.
It's the leadoff band from the Pasadena Community College. So, take it away, Lisa.
Here they come. You know, one of the happy events of the year 1929 was the first appearance in the Rose Parade by the Pasadena Community College. It's been rousing our spirits every year since. The members are selected from students at the college and from high schools in the Pasadena area college district. They sound great today. I guess we don't need a computer to figure out that these young musicians here today must have been the grandchildren of the band's founders. Let's take a listen now, everybody, as the 1991 parade officially gets underway.
If you phone for the Long Beach Mounted Police, don't be surprised if a charming young lady rides up to help you with your problem, with a posse of 5 more. Both businesswomen and men make up this colorful honorary group.
They are riding proud today, Kevin.
Here it is, the Grand Marshal's Trophy, the first float for 1991. Now, we all know the famous Wizard of Oz Dorothy found at the end of the Yellow Brick Road. Well, here's a new and more magnificent magician created by General Motors and the United Auto Workers. He wears a brilliant robe of carnations and mums and orchids and thousands of roses. And what does this wizard do? Anything he wants to. He is gigantic, 60 feet tall, and he weighs 21 tons. The construction started 6 months ago at Don Bent's float building studio. So get ready for the special surprises he has up his sleeve.
You really get the sense, Kevin, something magical is about to happen. Can you see what's going on? The smoke is coming out.
As the arms move upward, a dove appears to fly out of one sleeve, and the planet Saturn appears from the other.
Let the fun and games begin.
Oh, he's yelling out, "Let the fun and games begin." A nice official opening for the parade.
I'd like to see him make this turn. You know, he's programmed to,
Well, he looks like he's
do
about
a
to run into
360
something.
turn.
Oh, he's beautiful.
You hear that rumbling sound? That occurs as carbon dioxide smoke rises to engulf the wizard.
Thank you, Mr. Wizard. Ah, the good old days, the good old days. You know, we get so nostalgic for them. But what was really so great about the good old days? Well, back when knighthood was in flower, they had colorful groups like this, Medieval Times. These costumes are beautiful reproductions of originals that were actually worn by lords and ladies of the 11th century. Andalusian horses. Of course, Kevin, another great thing about the good old days was you could always find a place, you know, to park your chariot.
Ah, look what's up next. After you park the chariot, you're going to look at President's Trophy. Well, finally, somebody did it. Dr. Pepper, to be exact. They've taken the classic English fox hunt and switched it around. This time, the foxes are doing the hunting. Ducks, raccoons, and skunks watch in amazement as horses and foxhounds and smartly dressed foxes bound off to the hunt. Now, if they'd only go on to the proper finish and hang the hunt master by his tail to the nearest tree.
And skin him. I don't know, it seems a little harsh, Kevin.
Well, it'd be a tough time. He's got 40,000 orchids, 35,000 roses.
While on the horse is also flaxseed, lettuce seed, sesame seed, onion seed, even cinnamon, paprika, and mustard powder. All in all, pretty spicy group on this float.
Really great dessert.
Kevin, ever wonder how some scientific secrets were discovered?
Well,
Yeah? Well, this is Caltech's version of Isaac Newton's big breakthrough on gravity, a Rube Goldberg perpetual motion machine. Now watch closely to what happens here. We'll see if we can follow it for you. Okay, the dominoes, as you can see, there's an effect going on here. The dominoes have fallen down. A beaver pops out of the compass and rolls down to the Bunsen burner. Okay, the Bunsen burner heats a flask. That's supposed to spray steam onto that small island that you see back there. Here we go. The steam starts shaking the tree on the island. Seems like they're not exactly going like they planned, but the tree is supposed to shake. That, of course, is the famous mathematician there. There it goes. The apple hits Isaac Newton on the head, and he discovers, of course, the Fig Newton.
Fig Newton.
They pulled it off. Any questions on that one now, Kevin?
Nah. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. But ladies, how would you like to ditch the old chapeau for a 10-gallon hat?
Our Grand Marshal of the parade, there he is, Bob Newhart. You're talking about Graham Bell, Alexander Graham Bell inventing the telephone. Well, this man turned it into a foil for his comedy routines. He's riding today with his wife, Ginny, his 4 children. Bob started out, you know, as an accountant, but it didn't work out real well. He could never quite make the books balance. Then he started doing comic routines with a friend, just kind of for laughs. Later, he actually produced a record album that became a bestseller, The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart, and the rest, of course, is history of hilarity. A little bit earlier, we asked Bob just why he thought the tournament had chosen him for this honor.
I mean, I'm actually the 100th Grand Marshal, because Shirley Temple was honored twice, and so was Bob Hope, and Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy also were. So I'm the second dummy who's ever ridden in the Rose Parade. They tell me when you come down Colorado and see all those people, it's just it's mind-boggling.
There he is, Bob Newhart. Hope you have a safe trip down the parade route today, Bob. 5.5 miles. He's a good friend of yours, isn't he, Kevin?
Yeah, you see him loosening up his arm?
Good friend of CBS's as well. Glad he's going to be back on the air, too, this year.
Get that arm loose, Bob. We need you on the ball field. Have a safe trip, Bob. Yeah, he's been with CBS forever. Ah, Norwalk, Connecticut. It's just a stone's throw away from my brothers who live up in Connecticut, Brian Dobson and Dennis Dobson. But I'll tell you, nobody throws stones at Norwalk, especially not at its high school's unique music program that includes 40% of all students. And not at this fine marching band that won the Eastern Marching Band Contest 3 times.
Hi to Brian and Dennis, everybody up there in Norwalk watching with us today.
You know, these are longtime residents of that area, CBS's own Andy Rooney. People do throw more than stones at Andy.
Yeah, but he's learned how to duck. This band here, there are 22 bands which you will see in the course of the parade this morning. Pretty good weather for them all today, too, here in Pasadena.
the Grand Marshal of the 1991 Rose Parade is CBS's Bob Newhart. A long time ago, Bob started using a telephone as a foil in his act.
Tiny little lentil seeds. Do you see those, Kevin?
You know what this reminds me of? Grant High School up near Portland. They have a great basketball team.
Your mind works in mysterious ways, Kevin. My little girl's here today, and I see Lexi yelling out, "Clown, clown." The kids go crazy at this parade. So as Sparkles makes his way down the boulevard, just about ready to turn the corner. Great, brilliant colors, aren't they, Kevin?
Nothing like a smiling clown. Not the back of his head, though. Check it out, folks. The sweepstakes trophy for sheer awesome beauty, friends. Come join the fun and games in a winter wonderland presented by Florist Trans World Delivery. Drawn by a spectacular troika of white horses, we're flying above the rooftops of Russia. Snowflakes actually spin. And the onion domes of the exotic buildings rotate. They're patterned after the domes of St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow.
I was in Moscow last year, and I don't remember it being that beautiful. It sure looks spectacular here.
Remember it being cold?
I do remember it being much colder than this, yes.
If there's some Russian realism, notice the figure skaters moving gracefully among icy trees and snow drifts of orchids, iris, and camellias.
We should say that's real ice. They have to keep that at about 26 degrees. They had to make it real ice, Kevin, because there are figure skating champions that are performing right now. Gene Miley and Michael Verlick, the world-class figure skating pair. And Todd Eldridge is there, the men's singles champ, along with Christy Yamaguchi, representing the women. Raul Rodriguez, who's kind of a really well-known name in the parade circles, designed that float. 13 entries he designed this year. Take a look at this one. You know, there are seals and there are seals, but you've got to agree this has to be the seal of excellence. Sorry about that one. The most impressive one it is by the International House of Pancakes. You know, I have my own table, Kevin, at the IHOP in West Hollywood. See, yeah, pretty impressed, aren't you?
Yes.
On his nose, you can see he spins a ball brilliant with roses, daisies, carnations, and mums. I think he'd be sure to win first prize at just about any beauty pageant with this eye-catching coat of orchid petals, glad petals, and carnations.
It's the CBS coverage of the 1991 Rose Parade with Lisa Gibbons and Kevin Dobson.
You're looking at a shot of downtown Pasadena as the floats make their way down the boulevard. Parade today's running just a little bit late.
But you know, the Rose Parade on CBS is worth waiting for. On a beautiful day, a beautiful parade, a beautiful co-host.
Bless your buns. These floats will be on display for a few days after the parade. Everybody who lives around this area and visitors can check it out. Wow, look at this guy. What a headdress. What a headdress.
The centuries-old culture of the American Indian includes many kinds of native dances, war dances, harvest dances, and as we see here in this colorful float by Bank of America, fancy dancing, or just dancing for the fun of it. The large, statuesque performers flank 2 enormous drums. And behind them are live, brilliantly costumed tribe members carrying out the theme. Notice at the top of the center of the scene, something called the coup stick, an Indian symbol of bravery.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Coup stick. The whole scene is kind of a floating mirage of floral beauty.
In keeping with the Indian theme, on this float, interesting array of cacti and succulent plants. Those dancers and drummers that you see, by the way, represent the National Center for Indian Enterprise Development. Boy, they're getting the crowd going. This'll get you revved up. Lisa Gibbons and Kevin Dobson with you, of course, live on CBS. 1991, a brand new year. This parade marks the beginning of it for lots of people, doesn't it?
Well, you know, people haven't seen it before. Come here, witness it in person. It starts a tradition. And I'm happy that the tradition continues on CBS.
Beauty, they say, is in the eye of the beholder. Well, beholders, feast your eyes on the stunning beauty of the 1991 Rose Queen and her 6 lovely princesses. Queen Cara Payton Rullman, there she is. She's a senior and an honor student at San Marino High School. She's very active there. She's a cheerleader, does just about everything. Earlier, we asked Cara how she feels to be honored.
Well, I don't think I have the spot of honor. I think that I share it with 6 other girls because obviously they were picked because they had special qualities too. There's no one special person. We're a group and we work as a whole. So there's no one person who really should stand out. They just needed someone in a white dress.
Beautiful and modest, our Rose Queen, 1991. Lots of VCRs taping this at home, don't you know? Some proud moms and dads. Brace yourselves for the Huskies.
They showed up.
Here they come. Noisy bunch of fanatic fans, followed by the University of Washington's fine band, ecstatic to have won the Pacific 10 title and the right to play Iowa in the Rose Bowl today. Boy, they are ready for some action, too. Well, if you think this is big and bustling, when do they get to the stadium, where they'll find, by exact ticket holder count, 40,000 fans?
Yeah, they have a lineman, a pulling guard who's 315 pounds. Try and take him out.
University of Washington band. There we have the mascot.
Police have just estimated that more than 1.5 million visitors are packed into the Pasadena city streets to watch this great parade.
I believe it. I think from this vantage point we can hear most of them. And think of the millions more who, of course, can't join the parade in person anyway.
Yeah, but the next best thing, friends, is to do what you're doing right now. Watch it here on CBS or get one of these official Tournament of Roses programs.
Yeah, I was looking at this. These are pretty neat, really, Kevin. There's a lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah,
a lot of trivia.
Trivia?
Like, if I asked you, was there ever an ostrich race here in Pasadena, would you know the answer?
Yeah, well, it didn't start until 1913.
No, okay. I
Look
forget
at
he's
this.
got his own copy
Wait,
of this
here's a
thing.
quote. Here's a quote from Woody Hayes. He says, "You show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser."
Yeah, but you show me a winner and I'll show you the Rose Parade. In fact, let's do show you the Rose Parade as we turn now back to the action. I guess we really should start calling this the International Tournament of Roses Parade because more and more units do appear from all over the globe, like this brilliant Shinagawa High School Band from Tokyo, Japan. This is an all-girl musical group. This 150-member band was first formed in 1983. They have appeared in more than 70 events each year since that time. Are they good, you ask? Well, these young ladies have won 6 consecutive sweepstakes in the Silver Parade competition. Let's hear their music. Very serious about this music, Kevin. All girls out there.
Beautiful, smiling young lady.
I don't know if you can tell, but they have on boots and they have heels, little heels.
They won't be at the end of this 5.5 mile march.
At the end of this parade, they might be rubbing those aching feet. Our friends from Tokyo, Japan. True to circus tradition, you'll always find the most fun and games in the center ring, presented by the Elks. This, by the way, won the Director's Trophy. Feast your eyes on that team of 8 matched Belgium draft horses. Aren't they beautiful? Handsome, proud, strong enough really to carry a medieval warrior wearing armor, weighing 1/4 of a ton. They're pulling the bright circus wagon filled with dazzling action of tigers twirling a sparkling ball and jumping through flaming hoops, as you can see from this shot. Clowns, of course, spread out all over the place doing tricks and flip-flops, lots of stunts. It's another float by Raul Rodriguez we told you about.
You know, the clowns are elk members who perform at hospitals throughout the country, like VA medical centers.
Last year, the horses here were actually wearing blankets made out of flowers, but they ate the flowers. So this year, the horses are appropriately going bareback.
Mention the theme of our 1991 Rose Parade, fun and games, and you think of people. Now, the city of Torrance, California, comes along with its charming float, nature's playground. It reminds us that animals have fun, too. This family of raccoons, for instance, gathered at a woodland pool. Mama raccoon watches the food at the water's edge while her babies frolic around. Why do coons always wash food before eating?
I've always wondered, Kevin.
Well, to tell you the truth, kiddo, scientists have several theories, but nobody's thought to ask them. Raccoons are very smart and have tiny hands with very clever fingers. So check it out. Tie a rope across the lid of your garbage can. Next morning, the knot will be gone, and the lid halfway across the backyard.
That's true. I had raccoons in my fountain at my house, and they are crafty little creatures.
This float was designed by Michelle Lofthouse, daughter of float builder Bill Lofthouse.
Wow, how times have changed. For fun and games, you know, kids used to knock around together a backyard version of the Spirit of St. Louis and, you know, pretend to head off on a Lindbergh-type flight to Paris. Well, now the city of Pasadena has its kids putting together a lunar rover that will take them into outer space. Yeah, but look what they've got to help them out. Their rocket ship has a lot of high-tech features, you know, a plunger, brooms, umbrellas, buckets. Of course, everybody who's anybody's there for the blast-off, mainly the cat and dog. You kind of get the feeling, though, that parental eyes must be watching. I bet you if this fuse is ever lighted, well, the kids are going to wind up in inner space, in their rooms. This float is self-built and decorated by the City of Pasadena Rose Association. Today, these musicians from the Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, and the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center. A lot of people in the crowd, really glad to see our military men out today.
Oh, Lisa, it is an old American tradition that we have some special food or drink on New Year's Day. In New England, it's a hearty soup. But friends, I'm not sure this is what the world is waiting for. A fun potion number 9, brewed by a couple of cackling old witches, courtesy of the Security Pacific National Bank.
Those witches, friends of yours, Kev?
Yeah, I recognize
No comment.
The witches have their regular gang of spooky friends watching and waiting for the treat. Ravens, black cats, higgly wiggly spiders. They even have a bear rug, and the bear is chuckling along with the gang. What we need next, pretty quick, is a truckload of bicarbonate of soda. Could those witches be doing the lambada? What do you think?
Yeah, right. They're doing love potion number 9. You'll look long and hard before you find a collection of fun and games between the covers of a book as an Alice in Wonderland, recreated for us by Transamerica Life Companies and the winner of the Fantasy Trophy. Now, there's a whole gang of curious characters here. The White Rabbit finds himself playing a crazy game of croquet against the Queen of Hearts. And check out what she's actually using for a mallet. Queen of Hearts is using a flamingo. There it is. And talk about your odd balls. How about hedgehogs? Using hedgehogs for balls, kind of like pitching horseshoes with a shoe still nailed to the horse. Of course, there's the Cheshire Cat, that tantalizing grin. The White Rabbit blows his trumpet. Looking at us like we're nuts. Great winner for the Fantasy Trophy.
Where the tall corn grows. And where the tough ball players grow, too. As the University of Iowa proved by winning the Big Ten Conference title and going head-to-head with the Pac-10 winners, University of Washington. I know the Joseph Straub family, all my cousins. You know, he and his wife Mary have 14 kids. And they send us a Christmas card, and they have a picture in football jerseys, 1 through 14. The big high.
That's one way to remember them all. Don't you know these people are excited today? Cheering.
Backing up that cheering mob of Iowa fans is one of the highest-rated bands in any of the major universities.
Let's hear it for the
Hawkeyes from the Middle West.
Sounding good today.
got their turn. Look who's coming now.
No lack of energy with this group. They are ready for it. I get into this action. I like that.
Well, they showed up. They're here to play.
We got a lot more parade coming up. Stay with us.
It's the CBS coverage of the 1991 Rose Parade with Lisa Gibbons and Kevin Dobson. Sponsored by Quaker Oats. It's the right thing to do and has been for over 100 years. And by Johnson's. Brings out the baby soft shine born in your hair.
And welcome back with us live from Pasadena. You know, the more things change, says the old French proverb, the more they stay the same. We have proof positive here in this lovely scene of the Gay 90s Cyclist, created by Rand McNally and Company. They're asking, are we there yet? Anybody with kids knows how that goes. Little do they know, sneers the villain, they got 5.5 long miles lying ahead of them. Of course, these days, thousands more people are enjoying bike riding as a sport. You know, though, Kevin, somehow they really don't look as great in those helmets and sweatpants and sneaks as they do in this get-up.
Yeah, well, this is a little more colorful, I think.
Riding on the float is Chris Muncie. He's 10 years old. He's from Mishawaka, Indiana.
When we think of fun and games, we don't usually include one of our most popular pastimes, reading. As we see in this elaborate scene created by First Interstate Bank, the mystical wizard in front is delving into one of the literary world's real classics, Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book. And just look at the marvelous creatures that are stirring Mowgli's imagination. We can all remember Baloo, the bear, Kaa, the python, King Louie, the monkey king, Colonel Hattai, the leader of the elephants. Now let's all boo the villain. Shere Khan, the crafty tiger.
There goes the Jungle Book.
Buffalo Bill, Billy the Kid, Wild Bill Hickok. Now we must add a modern name to that list of famous cowboys. Monty Montana. He won't tell us, but he'll go Monty. Was the famous fountain of youth. Today, January 1st, 1991, Monty and his group of riders will be thrilling Rose Parade audiences for his, can you believe it, 59th year. Remember, too, Monty will be riding his horse and twirling that big lasso continuously along the 5.5-mile parade route.
Look at this, Kevin. School's out. Those may be two of the most exciting words in our language. That's the inspiration for this nostalgic float by Lazy Boy Chair Company. Spring's in the air, and the kids just sprung from their little red schoolhouse are scurrying all over the place on this one. Pretty good trick if you can catch it. I should tell you the water is heated, so don't worry about the kids here swinging off that rope.
Well, it's nice once you get in it. I don't know about getting out of it.
That's cute, these Sadie Hawkins type costumes. Whoa, there he goes down the slide. I got some real action. cleats on this one. Not a bad Tarzan, Kevin.
Better that than a... Thank you. No bungee cords.
Imagine saying, honey, I'm going off to work today. Yeah, I'm going to ride this float, and I'll be sliding down a slide and swinging from a tree for a few miles.
You say, yeah, you're all wet.
Such a big band here from such a small country, and what a unique experience for us to greet the OTMAR band. They've come to us all the way from St. Gallen, a small village in Switzerland. There's 69 musicians here, plus a group of Swiss people from Los Angeles in traditional costumes, carrying flags from the 25 cantons of that nation. Interesting, this year so many countries threw off autocratic governments and chose freedom. Switzerland's been a democracy for the past 700 years. Here's how they sound. Sports, Kevin, you play any instruments? Did you ever do this stuff in marching bands?
No, I never did. My father did. I went to grammar school that he worked at, Our Lady of Fatima in Jackson Heights. And these kids won everything in the East.
They really get into it.
Oh, yeah. 2 years ago, we celebrated the first Century of Roses parade. But that makes us look like youngsters compared to the villagers on this float, honoring the 700 years of democracy enjoyed by Switzerland. There's a classic bell tower. Gathered are farmers, animals, and 2 giant oxen pulling a cart. Now dig those alpine horn players. And rising majestically in the rear is the famous mountain, the Matterhorn. And those 2 accordionists on the wagon. Now, we've been told that every detail on this float is authentically Swiss, down to the smallest detail. The goats, the St. Bernards, and the ibex. Any Swiss person would agree. Coming up. Now, here's a fine American success story. Years ago, this gentleman came in from the cold one night after guarding a traffic barricade on Orange Grove Boulevard and went on to become our 1991 Rose Parade president, Roy L. Coates. Most bands like to brag about how many trombones they have.
Kevin, here we are. We're looking at a typically charming small-town church with stained glass windows and gardens of colorful flowers, presented by the Lutheran Laymen's League. This year, of course, it's fun and games everywhere. So if you look closely, you'll notice 2 mice up there. See them swinging? They're ringing the steeple. Well, after all, they are church mice, so it's okay. Psalm 66 says, make a joyful noise unto God. That's exactly what they're doing. Look at the small town. Most bands like to brag about how many trombones they have, or flutes, or piccolos. Well, this one, the Wyoming High School All-State Centennial brand, brags about its 5 sets of twins. They're mostly girls. Maybe in some of our close-ups there you can pick them out. I'm sure their moms and dads saw them right away. This band likes to brag, too, that it's composed of students from 47 different high schools to celebrate Wyoming's centennial. They all get together. They spend about a month and a half at Casper College rehearsing for this appearance today in the Rose Parade. Glad to have them with us. Glad to have you with us. I'm Lisa Gibbons along with Kevin Dobson. We're live from Pasadena, of course, ushering in 1991.
Looks like fun, doesn't it, fellas? Roping and romping as presented by Rotary International. Well, let's say you're good at tossing that lasso and you do-ring it around Mr. Bull's neck. Well, you'll find yourself hooked to an almost a ton of sheer writhing muscle. After you fall off, you can always lie there and enjoy the vivid landscape of orchids, mums, and glads, and more than 40,000 roses. Our cowboy, or charro, depicted up here, represents the international cowboy so popular in South America. The two float riders are Russian Rotarians, here to visit our cowboy country. Yahoo, guys.
Hello to our Russian friends. When the theme of this 1991 parade was announced, fun and games, the creative guys over at Baskin-Robbins Ice Cream decided to resort to an ancient form of humor, the pun, and here she is. Stunning float called Hog in the Spotlight. Well, the least likely animal of all, the pig, has put tights on here, toe slippers, and a tutu made of orchids, and chosen to appear as the divine ballerina Madame Tutti Frutti. I don't know, I like the macadamia fudge myself.
Well, she's had more than 31 flavors.
I should tell you that Madame Tutti Frutti's ballet slipper size, there it is, size 108. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Parade Live. I'm Lisa Gibbons reporting, and proud to be sitting beside one of the most popular and respected actors in the business, Kevin Dobson.
Did you say respectful?
Yes, I did. And I mean that, too. I'm going to gush a little bit over you.
Thank you very much. I have to get a tape of this.
Well, exactly. Well, if your wife's not recording one for you, I'll see if I can get John Tesh or one of my buddies at ET to get you a
Well,
copy.
she's not recording it, but she's out here with the kids.
Let's take a minute, because we've got the audience out here. Let's talk about something you're really involved in, the John Wayne Cancer Clinic.
Yeah, mark your calendars. The weekend of July 19th, the John Wayne Cancer Clinic Auxiliary is putting on a golf tournament at the Ojai Valley Inn. It's going to be a golf and tennis family classic. So if you're interested, come on out. It's, you know, we're going to cure cancer.
That's terrific. You play with some of the really big guys. I mean, seriously, what's it like to play with the pros like Tom Watson and Lee Trevino?
Well, you watch them hit, and they hit it so perfectly. You watch me hit, and it's like watching a samurai warrior smack a tree. Bing, bang, long and wrong.
Isn't it true, though, the more times you hit the ball, the higher the score? Isn't that good?
Something like that. You know, I play military golf. Left, right, all over.
Well, I commend you on that. It's a good cause, the John Wayne Cancer Clinic.
Oh,
Wish
yeah.
you a lot of luck with this year's event.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to more fun and games in this Rose Parade
Fun and
for
games this year.
1991. That's a whimsical float there.
In the wide world of children everywhere, has there been one game more fun than riding a seesaw? I doubt it. Well, we find animals get it.
Ah, here we have it. Some of the kids' favorites, dinosaurs. This colorful mother dinosaur is playing with little kids at the old swimming hole. Cute youngsters take turns sliding down Mom's tail into what could have been the very first water slide. There goes one of the little babies. Too bad dinosaurs disappeared a few million years ago.
I don't know.
They're really trendy now, though, Kevin. You know, all the kids are really into it these days.
That'd be a tough pet.
That Mrs. Dino, she's a dazzling sight. Lots of different kinds of flowers on her, including 23 varieties of roses. You know, this float building business is a big industry here in Pasadena, and they actually are people who are hired to do it, but this is a self-built and self-decorated float by the City of Downey Rose Float Association. Did a nice job. time flies. A few moments ago, we were shouting Happy New Year. Suddenly, well, this looks like Easter, at least according to the Ritz-Carlton Huntington Hotel.
Ooh, nice place.
Yeah, it is. They're having an Easter egg hunt in that big, beautifully built basket filled with chicks, decorated eggs, and lots of special treats for the kids. Let's not forget those two big, beautiful birds that started the whole thing. The annual Easter egg hunt, an old Huntington, big Pasadena tradition.
Okay, folks, check your list. There's the national trophy. For the good old days, that's a favorite thought as the new year comes into view. And Better Homes and Gardens has created a nostalgic scene, taking us home for the holidays, way back in 1830.
A lot of movement on this float. That is stunning.
A group of carolers vocalize under a Victorian gazebo. Good friends are skating, others are dancing. Even forest animals have gathered around to watch the fun and games. The float designer told us that they're creating the winter feeling using blues and pinks and lavender instead of only white. And great pains were taken to create the costumes and facial expressions.
Can see that. Well, it takes these guys a while to unwind by the time they get to the end of the parade.
And you see the animated skaters will turn 720 times an hour.
Jeez.
And after the parade, they'll need 45 minutes to unwind.
That's exactly right. I think I'll need at least that long.
Oh, turn back the clock to 1880 now for a stirring appearance by the B Troop, 4th Cavalry of the United States, stationed at Fort Huachuca, Arizona.
Well done.
Thank you. Usually we see this kind of group in old black and white westerns. Here, they've been colorized.
Here it is, the Isabella Coleman Trophy. Welcome to the Toraja Festival. That one usually takes place not here on Orange Grove Boulevard, Pasadena, but on the island of Sulawesi in Republic Indonesia. At this party time, the grateful people offer thanks for everything good in their lives. Here they're surrounded by gardens of ginger, anthurium, orchids, and kale. Actually, the litter would be borne by 50 people at each end. On the float, however, they substituted 8 huge sculptured figures. Watch these movements as their knees appear to buckle under the weight there. Incredible animation. Music of a gamelan orchestra, including 7 Indonesian drummers and 5 gamelan players. They're accompanied by 54 walkers, 2 from each of Indonesia's provinces. Do you know, Kevin, in Indonesia, they actually have about 3 earthquakes a day. These people get used to it.
Someday I might want to go there.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. There she is. That's Lee Merriweather's daughter. That's Leslie Aletter. Lee's sitting right next to us, Kevin, here in the stands. They're taking pictures and yelling for her.
Fun under the big top from Farmers Insurance Group. And believe me, the top would have to be really big and high to make room for their star performer, a magnificent elephant. Well, as you know, as Lisa just said, it's not the only star of the show, but solid support for other performers and acts.
The trapeze acts on this, by the way, have been directed by Hollywood acrobatic expert Bob Yerkes. He directs the stuff on Circus of the Stars, Kevin.
Now, on its saddle, or hoda, are the ringmaster and the circus dancers. They're daring acrobats on trapeze, a ferocious tiger, and a trainer astride a huge Bengal tiger. And even on its tail, there's some monkey business.
under the big top. Must be good fun for them riding behind that band from Indonesia. They sounded great.
That's Lee Merriweather's daughter. Oh, that's Lee
The other one's Lee Merriweather's daughter. They look a lot alike, actually. Hope those tusks are strong enough to hold those girls. You know, they are literally dangling over the street there. I guess they won't be doing anything really daring because that's fairly precarious. Kevin, that sounds like you're Tom Jones.
Chances are the ancient ancestors of the people in this group might have been moving along this route centuries before there were even horses on this continent. We all recognize Marshal Iron Eyes Cody, who's been in the Rose Parade now for 51 years. On his left is Stuart Wallowing Bull. And there are women Indian riders, too.
One of the oldest and most exotic Oriental dances or theaters, of course, the Kabuki, presented here today by the Unocal Corporation. To authentic Kabuki music, a little bit too much parading for me. These costume dancers twirl elaborate fans as they act out folk legends and tales that have been classics of the Oriental theater for centuries. The fan twirlers, by the way, originally worked the intermission at the Kabuki Theater and became so popular that they became the featured acts. The figured robes that you see here are decorated with orchids, carnations, straw flowers, and mums. That striking face that you see, that's made up with carnation petals, silver leaf, and yes, crushed rice. See that large bar above the figure's head? That's called a tori bar. It's a Japanese symbol of good luck. We're having good luck today in Pasadena. Really pretty weather here for the parade.
I'll tell you, the parade started and the sun came out. Blue skies, gorgeous weather.
Well, these look like little horses that have kind of been through a car wash and shrunk up, but they're actually a distinct breed that goes way back to medieval times. First miniatures appeared as pets for the children of royalty. Later, these small equines were used in coal and iron mines to pull carts through the shafts. And thanks to Marshal Lauren Parker and others like her group, the miniatures are popular again as pets. Really cute, but they're very expensive, Kevin. Not something you just want to casually jot down on your shopping list. Cute. I think they're about 10,000 bucks each.
Yeah, real cute. Fun is fun, but along comes the Carnation Company with its one-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people eater. One-eyed. This floats a show in itself, something you find in a bad dream. Adios, amigo.
Oh. Now that's a foam-padded tongue, isn't it, Kevin?
I hope so.
Once again, there's no net, no safety precaution. If he misses that jump, he's like on his keister on the street.
Ouch, big time. Now, check it out. An ordinary bus moves along as usual, but it's followed by a hungry dragon. He rolls his one eye, whips his big tail, and juggles terrified riders with his sticky claw. Steam blasts from its one horn as the terrible monster drops victims into its huge gaping mouth.
They got the cheerleader now.
Burps.
Here she goes. Boy, landing on a tooth wouldn't be nice either. Ouch.
That's an 18-foot free fall.
Nice work. The crowd loved it, too.
Well, if you look closely, you see the little old lady from Pasadena enjoying that ride.
Welcome a band that has a ball.
Baseball, that is. These fine musicians come from Vero Beach, Florida High School, spring training ground for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And while here in California, they practice at Dodger Stadium. But probably the most unusual feature of the group is its co-directors, Jim and Sheila Salmon. They are husband and wife. Imagine bringing your work home at night, 130 feisty young musicians. A dedicated group. And Dodger fans.
As we mentioned to you earlier, some great news for TV fans in this new year. Our Grand Marshal Bob Newhart's coming back to television, a brand new show here on CBS. Earlier, we asked him to tell us a little something about it.
I only know it will either be called The or Bob.
The reason two Oldsmobiles.
It's the CBS coverage of the 1991 Rose Parade with Lisa Gibbons and Kevin Dobson.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Check it out as he slam dunks the ball here.
Of all the fun and games enjoyed by Americans, one of the most popular is basketball. Saluted here by ITT Sheridan on its clever float slam dunk. A hoop star almost as tall as the sequoia tree heading for a score makes a 180-degree turn, jumps at least 4 feet, then swings his arm to slam dunk the ball through the hoop. Check it out.
Maybe we'll get to see him do it one more time before he passes by.
No doubt he and his teammates roll through 2 halves of a game and wind up winners with a score of, say, 127 to 105.
Fans, there is the Indianapolis 500. For marching band buffs, there's Ben Davis High School. So good that it set a record of 5 consecutive Indiana State Championships. Their trophy shelf holds a total of 13. On a personal note, drum major Lynn Miller is pretty proud of her family record. Her mother marched with this band at the Rose Parade back in 1963. Happy New Year, everybody.
Bringing people together. You've often seen jet plane trails in the sky, but never a unique one like this created by Delta Airlines, whose motto today is bringing people together. This float looks back at Earth from an astronaut's point of view. Circling the globe is a long spiral splash of color that features 5 varieties of roses. In front of the moving globe, there are costume dances, all Delta employees. The floral arrangements represent 14 locations around the world, including the United States, the Netherlands, Germany, France, and even Thailand.
Pasadena local, Janine Nichols, choreographed the action here. Queen's Trophy, you see it here. It was a tradition back in Victoria times that a lovely rose bowl filled with flowers be presented to the winners of games and contests. Then held high at the victory celebration while the teams could shout, "We are the champions." This time sponsored by Century 21 Real Estate. This really is quite spectacular. Take your time looking over it. You could admire the roses, delphiniums, iris, orchids, mums, daisies on this one, even delicate baby's breath. That's the 1991 Easter Seal child, Bridget Houlihan.
Hey, Bridget!
Waving and riding. This bowl is actually a replica of a Victorian antique silver bowl, excuse me, that they really did call a rose bowl.
Who gets it today? No, friends, this is not the launching of a new brand of perfume by a movie star. Ha ha. This sweet smell of success comes straight from the city of Alhambra, California. And if you're dedicated to things strictly organic, you should get a real snoot fill. That is, if the cunning skunk were the real thing. In real life, if you bother him, you get a flash and a splash that you'd long remember. Or maybe the city fathers in Alhambra are being careful to cover any trace of odor with the smell of those lovely carnations, straw flowers, daisies, and orchids.
Shogun was the title given to lawless dictators in Japan from the 12th to the 19th century. Then in 1867 came a restoration and the beginning of modern Japan. But count on the Rose Parade to have everything, and sure enough, we have the Shogun Maeda in warrior costumes, as you see. Of course, today it's all fun and games.
Brace yourself, friend. The musicians in the Clovis High School Wildcat Band of Clovis, New Mexico, they show up in their underwear. Only kidding, only kidding.
I don't know, it's starting to sound pretty good.
Well, they had a problem. They ordered brand new uniforms, but the company went broke. Ordered new ones from another outfit. We don't know if they arrived yet, have they?
Well, I think the white ones are, I think these are the new ones, yeah.
The clothes don't make the band. It's their music, which is considered the best of any high school band in the Southwest. Proof. Clovis High has won 28 First Division awards. That is 28 in a row.
Congratulations, gang. This won the judges' special trophy. The tradition and rituals of Chinese ceremony and cultures are celebrated in the 5th appearance here of China Airlines. The monkey god, an elaborate Chinese character. His headdress is decorated with marigolds, carnations, and daisies. And the enormous beard is made of palm fiber, firegrass, and uva grass. Now, according to Chinese legend, the monkey guard wards off evil spirits and protects the innocent. Kind of wonder what would happen if he showed up at the Rose Bowl today. These people walking with the float, by the way, were flown in from Taipei. Glad to have them with us. Wonder how long he'll keep that up along these 5.5 miles.
You families watching at home, here's the governor's trophy, so nudge Grandpa awake so he can move up close to the TV set and enjoy his old sweetheart of the 30s, Betty Boop, presented by the city of Carson, California.
Betty Boop. 60th anniversary of Betty Boop.
Betty's tooling along in a vintage roadster loaded with beach balls, picnic basket, and her pup, Pudgy, all set for a day of fun and games. A typical California outing. Bet if you stir up Gramps' memory, he'll come up with Betty's famous song signature. Boop, boop, ba-doop.
He knows.
We're watching a great parade, but Lisa is going to host the Miss USA pageant. When is that?
It's coming up actually next month, February 22nd. We're going back to Wichita, where we had so much fun last year. Aren't you great to get in all our plugs?
Why don't you get an award for that?
What a good guy.
Showing up. Look at that smile.
Happy New Year, everybody. We're really glad to have you with us. I'm Lisa Gibbons.
And I'm Kevin Dobson. And for
Great
those
parade.
who have just joined in, remember, all the Rose Parade floats compete for special prizes.
Well, exactly, and it's ironic you mentioned the pageant because we got every prize here except for, like, Miss Congeniality.
It's a lot like, you know, Miss Universe pageant on CBS, which Lisa co-hosts.
Thank you.
And also Miss USA, which Lisa co-hosts. And Miss Teen, which Lisa co-hosts.
Well, that's right. Pageants are us.
But this is a different kind of pageant. It's a parade.
You see, the Rose Parade also has a panel of distinguished judges, and they judge the floats 3 times. The first 2 times are during the decorating phase.
And then the last time, what you might call evening gown competition, you know, it just goes on and on
Well,
and
that's about
on.
right, because that competition does take place before the sun rises on New Year's morning.
Well, scores of all 3 judging sessions are combined, and the results were released to us just before the parade began.
And if for any reason, Kevin, I should remind you that any of today's winners cannot fulfill their obligations
Parade.
as
This is a parade,
winners.
not pageant.
Yeah.
Pageant is next month.
Right.
This is the parade, the Rose Parade. Lisa!
And the action continues live from Pasadena as you're joining us this New Year's Day.
Here's an old-fashioned California Wild West 4th of July celebration presented by Wells Fargo Bank. And we do mean wild. Those 8 Belgian draft horses are literally hauling the stagecoach and the station. Total weight, 12.5 tons. And there are 38 performers on board from the California Music Theater. The fillers are up there on the top floor of this huge authentic replica, covered with 250,000 orchids. Count them. You count them. While the dancers below and the cowboys do the noisy celebration. You see that twirling up on top? That's Monty Montana's daughter. Her dad rode by earlier. You remember Monty Montana? He's been in the parade like 900 years. And what better way to celebrate the birth of our nation than to cheer for Linda Montana doing those daredevil rope tricks on the rooftop. Friends, this Northern Virginia Colonial Regiment has everything. Pipes, bugles, clarions, drums, and colonial flags. Makes my heart flutter. The young musicians represent 7 counties that include the birthplaces of George Washington, Patrick Henry, George Mason, James Monroe, and Robert E. Lee. On the personal side, the group has 2 sets of twins, students from 11 different colleges and universities, and 1 young couple that met and married in the band. Who knows? Maybe they'll come up with a cute little cadenza.
Well, one of the most popular games we played as kids was Follow the Leader. Well, I don't know. I remember playing Spin the Bottle myself, but here's the city of Long Beach to show how Follow the Leader really should be done with 5 adorable lightning-fast dolphins. These playful mammals are covered with silver leaf and iris petals. And where'd they get the water from? From statice, orchids, ginger, and roses. Those horizontal hoops really create a nice effect to show you above the water and below the water. As they dive underwater, you can see jellyfish and all that underwater life. Now a warm welcome to Pasadena from the people of Pasadena, the winner of our Mayor's Trophy. But I'm talking Pasadena, Texas now. They've sent us a very encouraging float. All aboard the recycling train. The train is loaded with materials that can be recycled. Plastic, newspapers, aluminum, even glass.
Whoa!
Thank you, Kevin.
A rose bone.
The plan is to take the train off its chassis base and following the parade, ship it back to Pasadena, Texas, where it's going to be placed at the Civic Center to encourage and promote recycling. At the rear is a replica of the monument to the Battle of San Jacinto, which is located in Pasadena, Texas, dedicated to Sam Houston, who won independence for Texas, of course. It's back when Texas was a country. Some of us still think so. Let's pay pay tribute to a colorful group on its 100th anniversary, the Forest Service of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The riders are wearing official dress-style uniforms. They're mounted on sturdy mules. We hope you'll stay with us from Pasadena. We're going to take a break.
In the Highlands, here's the impressive Highland Regiment Band of Upland, California, to bring it to the Orange Grove Boulevard and the Rose Parade. The pipe band leads an impressive group of more than 200 musicians, color guard, and this is interesting, nostalgic grads who want to recapture the rapture of playing in past parades.
Oh, that's nice.
These uniforms are authentic, complete with kilts and the plaid of the MacDonald clan. Well, let's listen to them.
Check it out. Look at this guy. This won the animation trophy. You can certainly see why. You never know who you're going to run into at the Rose Parade. Like Godzilla here, a guest of the American Honda Motor Company. I think old Godsey would be out in a swamp somewhere gobbling up tasty tidbits. But today he's here to wish us all a Happy New Year as he grunts to a weird rendition, I don't know if you can hear it, of Auld Lang Syne. Look at that, he's carrying the sign. Must have stolen that. The intersection where this parade is coming from today.
Orange Grove in Colorado.
Happy 1991. Check out what this guy is wearing, a paisley coat and a top hat. He's shuffling along the parade route, spinning a noisemaker in one hand, as you saw. Terrific animation on this float. Now, to help them get this reptilian look, Rick Chapman has used a new California green cauliflower. It's called a broccaflower. It's half broccoli, half cauliflower. Sure works for this.
Broccaflower.
Sounds like another thing kids wouldn't eat, doesn't it? Oh, I can barely make out Auld Lang Syne there. Godzilla's parading around
sounded fine to me.
There he goes down Colorado. Happy New Year, everybody. Glad to have you with us from Pasadena. Beautiful day, as you can see, our blue sky there in the background.
The city of Mobile, Alabama is doing a piscatorial switch with its clever float. Go fish. It's the denizens of the deep who are playing that kids card game we all remember. The turtle has 3 cards as he smugly yells, "Go fish!" Well, to all the others. But the shrimp, the crabs, the oysters, and the starfish are carefully hiding their cards as they wait for a bite on their fishing line. Hey, if they do feel a tug, what do they expect to pull out? Well, you never know when you can hook some sucker these days. What?
Pretty impressive angle. It's a nice shot.
Well, he's got this guy wrapped in...
The students of Cal Poly universities will spare no technical skill or gimmick to create a super animated float like this Tickle Attack. It won the Humor Trophy. What we see is a group of spider monkeys using big feathers to launch the Tickle Attack on friends like a tiger cub and an orangutan. Their heads and bodies move in cleverly animated laughing gyrations. Of course, this stuff all looks simple enough, but inside the float, They got about enough high-tech instruments to launch a missile into orbit. Now,
Yeah, he's kicking it. He's kicking it.
Isn't he? Kevin, the students use flowers they've grown themselves to build and decorate their own float. But this year, had a little bit of a chill out here in California. And for the first time ever, they were forced to go into the flower market and buy some flowers. Nice job. It's big, 280 musicians. It is bold. The first band at the St. Louis Festival ever to win first prize 3 straight times. And it's Normal High School, Illinois, which is bringing to Pasadena, along with its fine group, 575 boosters. These folks have been around. Normal has appeared at the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Fiesta Bowl parade. They really wanted to be here. Now, after 8 years of patient petitioning, well, they are here. They're finally with us at the Rose Parade. Well rehearsed and ready to go.
The Lathrop K. Lasham Trophy. A lovely tranquil garden is presented now by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Children play with butterflies, birds, geese, and newborn lambs. They're playing in peace. The kids swing from trees decorated with moss, bark, mums, roses, and orchids. Their clothes are created with petals from glads, poinsettias, carnations, and orchids. They represent 5 international ethnic and cultural groups: Hispanic, European, Oriental, African, and American. The garden features protea, banksia, elephant grass, and tulips. Lots of flowers. I hope I pronounced them all correctly.
You're doing well, Kevin. Nice message, playing in peace.
Peace of the Lord be with you.
We're going to take a break, but we'll be right back with more of the Rose Parade.
New CBS coverage of the 1991 Rose Parade with Lisa Gibbons and Kevin Dobson.
Hey, everybody, Happy New Year. You're looking now at the winner of the theme trophy. Fantasy time now for kids of all ages in a secret hideaway created by Kmart Corporation. Come on, let's be honest. As a kid, didn't you always wish for a place like this? Where you could fish and fly kites, ride on the seesaw as they're doing. Now that clubhouse, Kevin, I had a clubhouse almost like that when I was a kid. We used to play Girl from Uncle. And I had a tire swing just like this little girl's riding on. The idea for this float came from Susan Harden of Waterloo, Iowa. She's a Kmart employee. What a gorgeous day we got going for us here in Pasadena. Happy 1991. Oh, look at this little guy.
A very serious medicinal crisis can suddenly confront any of us. Now, from the City of Hope National Medical Center, it's a patient who's been a long time coming for help. About 1 million years. What's his dinosaur problem? A torn up heel and tail. There he is. So the Stone Age doctor probably says, well, take 2 brontosauruses and call me in the next millennium.
Boy, they're having a big time here on this seesaw.
Do you suppose Albert Einstein ever rode on a teeter-totter? If he did, and his spirit is still with us, he could help out La Cañada Flintridge with that balancing problem on its cute float. Barely balanced. The bear's completely in control on his side, but trying to upset him on the other are a rabbit, a frog, and a skunk. Personally, I think the others will win by a nose. Somebody's nose.
But I'm bummed.
That frog in front knows that the farther he hangs from the front, the more effective his weight will be. Any JPL scientist knows that. Mathematician knows that equation. You know, I just want to take a few seconds and wish everyone, we, me representing the folks, production crew and producers, David Jacobs to Hoppy and the cast and crew of Knots Landing, wish you all a very safe and happy New Year. And especially our guys in Operation Desert Shield. We want you home safe and sound, come back to our families, especially with this one guy, Staff Sergeant Frank Jones. You get it done.
Nice message, Kevin. Sorry to say we can't bring you to enjoy all the wonders of the famous SeaWorld attraction, but look what we can do. SeaWorld's bringing some aquatic fun and games to us with Skiing is Believing. That's what they call this one. The power to pull the water skiers comes from, what else, a killer whale? Look at that octopus. The skis are overloaded with penguins, walruses, and a playful otter. But as you saw on that ski tow rope, it's obviously snapped, and that octopus is pretty mad about it. He's trying to hold it together. He's great looking. This is, by the way, the longest float in the parade. It is 85 feet long. And because of that, this was not eligible for an award because they have a limit of 65 feet for the awards. But SeaWorld wanted to enter it anyway. It's very effective like this. For some distinguished visitors from Europe, the Regent Hall Salvation Army Band from London, England. Regent Hall has been honored for many years as one of the outstanding musical groups in the organization. They often tour the continent, and they've actually had the honor of playing for Her Majesty the Queen at Buckingham Palace. Certainly want to wish the best of 1991 to everybody watching at home. Hope all my buddies and pals and co-workers at Entertainment Tonight are watching as well. Hi, gang. Happy New Year. We actually got the day off, some of us today. Part of the day off, anyway.
I don't call this work. Biggest and strongest land animal, the elephant. But it has the most delicate touch and sense of balance of all. And the city of Glendale, California is showing it off at a charming float balancing act. Mama Pachyderm glides along the parade route on one foot and at the same time cradles a swinging baby with a trunk. The float designers had to do their own balancing act with special weights hidden at the rear to counterbalance the float. And watch Mama's eye as she stares at the baby. That's the secret of a balancing skill. In the meantime, we're enjoying an eye full of natural color from real flowers like gladiolas, orchids, and of course, roses.
A lot of people stayed up really late placing these flowers in. All of them in individual vials.
There are thousands of dedicated volunteers who make this road parade such a success, and we'd like to thank them all. Especially we want to thank John H.B. French, Executive Director of the Tournament of Roses, Boris W. Frosty Foster, Assistant Executive Director, William B. Flynn, Assistant Executive Director, and Kristen Marbury Tranquada, Press Information. And a big handshake of gratitude for the two fine gentlemen who mother-henned us at CBS, Mark Matlock and Floyd Ventures.
I'll second that. Been well taken care of. More parade coming up. Back in a moment.
Largest high school in the state, and its band has been the best band in Oregon 4 times.
Say hi to all the folks from Oregon I know are watching today. I hope my mom and dad are watching back home in South Carolina. Happy New Year, JG, Pops. The international trophy winner is what you're seeing now. Go fly a kite is what they say, but now try it in this colorful, exciting Malaysian style. Brought to us by the Malaysian Tourist Bureau. Long way from the old sticks and flour sacks we American kids used to try to get airborne. Actually, the flying is simulated as these kites rise to a height of 42 feet. 10,000 large Malaysian orchids have been flown in to create the bridge effect that you see there. Japanese kite flying. They fly a lot of kites like this in Malaysia. They always fly them on all the happy occasions, lots of festivals. They vary from between 2 and 14 feet in diameter. Our international trophy winner.
The great race is on, sponsored by the Burbank Tournament of Roses Association. But I'm afraid their entry isn't going to win the America's Cup. But no wonder, what a crew! A crab checks the map, a frog steers the craft, a rabbit looks for the finish line, and an elephant tries to blow air into the sail. And just so it shouldn't be a total loss, the pelican at the rear fishes for food. This float was designed by Eric Anderson, 24 years old now, but has been a member of the Burbank group since he was 14.
Well, the privilege of hosting the International Ballet Competition rotates among Russia, Bulgaria, Finland, and the U.S. But when it's our turn, the competition is held in Jackson, Mississippi. And on this beautiful float, graceful dancers perform among sculptured magnolia blossoms surrounded by floral renderings of flags of the competing nations. Jackson, Mississippi, very proud to host the International Ballet. On the float, that's Martha Butler, this year's gold medalist. You can see her, there she is, twirling around in the middle.
Marsha, turn this way, baby.
All the beauty queens and the winners are going to get quite a suntan out there today. Sun's nice and warm. We just say that sort of chide all our pals in colder climates.
There you go. What a smile. What a talent.
River rafting has become a real popular sport, as Arco reminds us, with this really elaborate float. They give us a wild ride. In this case, the sporty rafters are also taking along some animal friends. As you can see them there. This is actually a reproduction from a Colorado River gorge. They were very authentic. As the camera tilts down, you can see that the moving water effect created by animating the floral rapids to synchronize with the movements of the rafts there. You can't see on this shot, but Mary Lou Retton is in the center raft. Mary Lou just got married. Congratulations to her. Arco salutes the Los Angeles Zoo, which has, of course, become a must-see attraction for thousands of visitors.
Lisa, do you remember the old fairy tale about the girl who kisses an ugly frog?
Yeah, the one about then the frog turns into a handsome prince?
Yeah, that's the one. Well, the City of Arcadia Tournament of Roses Association has the dream, but not the ending. Here we have Diane Kennedy, the Queen of Arcadia, sitting on his lap, and he's still a frog, although he's wearing an elegant Renaissance costume. Well, we'll check further down the parade route to see if the frog has done the quick change routine.
Well, the moral of this float by the Oddfellows and Rebecca's, don't read in bed or you might be scared silly. This one won the Princess's Trophy. From the looks of this elegant four-poster with its scary floral decorations, I get the feeling something pretty strange is going on.
I hope they get up before the game starts.
Really colorful float, nice looking. The float builders of this one showed us about 5,000 different varieties of roses, each in those individual vials that they placed in this float. A lot of people stayed up late. All the floats had to be in place bright and early this morning, by around 2 a.m., I think. A lot of people will be crashing right after this parade. Now let's all pay attention to the color guard of the Vallejo High School Marching Band. This special color guard has won more than 150 awards. I'm certainly proud to have them with us today. The band, by the way, no slouch either, performing twice now in the Rose Parade, plus Victoria Day in British Columbia, and in 8 other parades each year. They've got this down.
These days, everybody's becoming a shutterbug. According to the Eastman Kodak's Funny Float, yes, even the family cat. Abby's got her own camera with zoom lens and is hunkered down for a close-up of 2 mice. And just like all paparazzi, she comes up with the old cliche, smile, say cheese. Actually, the shot I'd really like to have for our family album is a rear view of Tabby as her tail spirals up to a height of 30 feet.
Oh, you're bad, Kevin.
The cat's fur is created with a blend of yellow and orange marigold.
Ah, check it out. Colorful looking float, this one.
Oh, fun and games, all right, in this colorful float called Discover the Magic of Ride Sharing by the California Ride Sharing Coalition. A snake charmer has conjured up a way to move passengers on a magic carpet. Good luck. But an important and very serious message to the entire nation comes from this lovely scene. If we don't begin to ride share in our cars, both riders and cars could someday be grounded.
Important message.
Now, this float is powered by a clean burning engine with natural gas.
Good for them. We're having a good time, and there's a lot more headed your way. Stay right where you are.
We hope you're having a good time.
Snoopy may be a pretty good navigator, but this float broke down. This one stalled Kevin on the boulevard, but heck, they're right at the end of the parade, so not much damage is done. 2 of the most famous aviators in history, of course, hovering over LAX, the Los Angeles airport, and brought to us by the city of Los Angeles. Snoopy leading the way to a landing in his Sopwith Camel, but close behind the hated Red Baron, a World War I flying ace. Woodstock, of course, riding along as a passenger. Our friend Charles Schultz created Snoopy 40 years ago. Happy anniversary, Snoop. Schultz, by the way, was the Grand Marshal of this parade 17 years ago.
sweet it is. We should be recalling that famous Jackie Gleason line as we lick our lips over this scrumptious float. King of the Hill by the Bakery and Confectionery Workers Union. Two gingerbread men are having a taffy pull to see who'll be king of the hill. And what a hill, a big mouth-watering banana split. Just looking at it can make you gain 100 pounds. Of course, we are looking at chrysanthemums, carnations, poppy seeds, and straw flowers. Good.
You folks watching us for the first time, join us veterans of the Rose Parade and salute the city of Sierra Madre, California for its charming float, Wally's Harbor Cruise. Wally Walrus pilots a broken-down tugboat. There he is, while a helpless little raccoon hangs on for dear life to make a makeshift parasail. He's doing pretty well with it. The great thing is that all the fundraising, the construction, and decorating was done as usual by volunteers from the Sierra Madre Float Association. Bravo to them.
Doing this? Yeah. Stay here.
Sounds of the Los Angeles All-District High School Band there.
Probably the best marching musicians today. It's composed of the most talented students selected from 49 Los Angeles high schools. And talk about devotion to their group. They get up and practice every day at 6 o'clock.
A lot of good bands in the parade today.
This was what I was coming back to. Early in the parade, the crowd was thrilled by the appearance of our Grand Marshal, Bob Newhart.
Yeah, I understand you and Bob are old baseball buddies, is that right?
Yeah, well, we played a game at Dodger Stadium. You know, he pitched and I caught, but he didn't pitch. He bounced everything over the plate.
Yeah, right. Well, Bob has his own version. Here's what he had to say when we spoke to him.
Oh, no.
One of the big thrills for me was in playing in the Dodger Stadium, and I was a pitcher, and Kevin caught for me one year, and I had a changeup and a screwball. Those were the two pitches I had, and the changeup wasn't doing anything. So Kevin came out to the mound and told me to just throw the screwball, and I said, well, now you know they'll guess what I'm throwing, and he said it doesn't matter.
What a great day it's been for us, and that does wrap things up here in Pasadena and our big time of fun and games.
Hey, you want to really get involved with fun and games? Be a VA volunteer. We love you, and we'll see you throughout the year. Play it safe. Happy 1991.
Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.
From Pasadena, California, the CBS presentation of the 1991 Tournament of Roses Parade was sponsored by Campbell's Soup. Any time of day, Campbell's Soups are good. By Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by Oldsmobile. Stop by your Oldsmobile dealer and see what's new from the new generation of Olds. Continental, which has assisted with transportation to Los Angeles, wishes you a very happy new year. Continental, ready in 1991 to give the best performance in the air to more than 100 cities around the world. New. Portions of this program were recorded. This is Vern Bennett speaking.